What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's
Oh
happening?
my God! Welcome to episode. What is this? Well, Aftercraft. I don't even know what episode we on. We're about to
I
review
think this
episode
is
eight
the
though.
third Aftercraft. This is the eighth episode of Lovecraft Country.
Yes, this is insane. What an episode we just got,
That was a lot.
and we're about to get right into it, man. Right off the bat. Welcome. Thank you everybody for joining us tonight. This was quite a show.
That it was.
So um yeah, once again they keep raising the bar for me. It's each episode, each time out, I swear this thing gets even more crazy, more intense, more action packed, more drama. I was trembling after this episode.
I first and foremost, let me just say it wasn't a vampire baby.
Oh yeah. Well, no, that it doesn't. We hadn't. He could still be a vampire though.
But he wasn't what you thought.
No, he wasn't the monster. He wasn't a
Yeah.
vampire monster. That's for sure. He wasn't a monster.
But what?
All
Yeah.
right, let's start from the top. So we got the we start at the with the funeral of
Uh,
Bobo,
yes.
aka Emmett Till,
Yes.
which was shocking because one, I didn't know initially that's what it was. I thought we were seeing Hippolyta's funeral initially, and then once it started getting into it, I was like, oh wait, this is Emmett Till.
Mm-hmm. I know that she wanted his funeral to be open casket, but for some reason, I just never realized that the whole city was going to be there. Like to see that, watching the funeral scene kind of made me feel the same way watching the Tulsa bombing scene in a Watchmen, how that
Yeah.
felt.
Mm-hmm.
That it gave me a pretty similar feeling. Like it's one thing to hear about it. Like we know he had an open casket funeral, but to see all of those people there to attend it, to see, what that was like on TV, that gives a new feeling to it.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. Like this is yeah, that is a good comparison. The Tulsa massacre because it's the first time. Well, not first time, but it's one of the more memorable moments where we've seen this event happen on screen.
Right.
Um, and it's from the Chicago perspective, like we're seeing how the city responded,
Yeah.
and it was much like how we've been responding to all of the um, police killings and the Black Lives Matter um, deaths by the hands of the police.
Absolutely.
So that was definitely impactful. And then um,
It was the hottest day of the summer.
the hottest day of the summer. I want it. It was that. Is that? I wonder. It's probably factually accurate, but I want to. I'm curious as
Well,
to know if that is
I said the
actually.
hottest day, but uh Ruby said to D said, "What's that smell?" And Ruby said to D that today is one of the hottest days of the summer, or it's the hot one of the hottest days of the summer. So she didn't say it was the hottest, but
Yeah.
and then D realized that she was smelling her friend's body.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That
That's
that was
that's
rough.
yeah. That was tough. And then people were coming out of the church vomiting at the sight of the body,
The sight, the smell.
the smell, all of it. I mean, it was probably it had to be an intense sensory experience for everyone there that hot summer day, for sure.
Absolutely. I
Um, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like in the way that the first episode of Watchmen was fire and pow, even though it started with that troubling scene, like this episode was amazing. It
Mm-hmm.
started off rough, but this episode was nuts. Can I just say that these people are the worst babysitters on earth?
Yeah, for
Because
real.
when Dee disappeared at that funeral, they all separated to look for her, and nobody actually looked for her.
Right. Yeah,
Like
they all went and did their like they went on personal missions. Like once again, like the communication thing we brought up last episode and yesterday on the cookout, like a lot of the issues would be resolved if they would just communicate effectively, like properly communicate with each other. Which it's funny because they actually started in this episode later, but it's almost too late. Well, we'll see, but it's way late in the game. Some things happen where they're certainly forced to communicate better and to just tell the truth and be honest with each other. But yeah, no, they all go out on their personal type of event. Just like they looked for her for like 5 minutes and then they were like, all right, I'm gonna go do this thing over here.
Yeah, I just like, especially Ruby.
Yeah.
Ruby was like, nah, I'm gonna go be a white woman real quick.
right. I'm gonna go.
And meanwhile, that's another thing. We knew that Mrs.
What's
Cooper,
up,
I
Mom?
know.
It was wild.
It was wild. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. So let's talk about, while everybody disappears or disperses to look for Dee, goes on a walk and, she's feeling unhappy. She sees those two girls, eating ice cream, enjoying themselves, and that bothers her. She throws rocks at them. All of a sudden, the sheriff pulls up and, is harassing her about her mom, where she is, and he proceeds to put a spell on her. Yeah. And although we knew that he knew of magic and that we noticed that magic had been used on him, this is the first time we've seen him use magic directly.
Yes. Yeah.
So to know that he knows magic was definitely a shock to me. I wasn't prepared for that today.
Oh, I was fully expecting that when we found the body in the closet, because the dude should have been dead. So I figured that he was using some sort of magic to keep him alive. Remember back, like, yeah, like because there's no way that dude should have been alive in that closet. In that scene where Ruby was infiltrating.
We never got answers for that. They just had that man in the closet.
Yep. Yeah. Or no, they were torturing him because I think he knew something about the house or the scientist there. Like that was answered. I think JBM brought that up or Lou brought that up.
Got you.
But yeah, that's why he was in there. It was an interrogation. But yeah, so yeah, so they've cast a spell, and then the spit, like one
it kept getting
is just like
drippier and drippier and nasty.
It was disgusting. One, the fact right off rip, like the fact that he spit on her it just bothers me.
The moment he spit into his hand, I was like, oh, he's about to do something with it.
And it was disgusting. Like it was like the nastiest. Like I was like, oh Jesus, ready to fight. That got my blood boiling. Like I couldn't. Oh man, God, I can't stand that.
A little unrelated, but that took me back to that moment where Pumpkin spit on New York and Flavor of Love. Like ever since that day, I don't think I'd ever seen someone spit on somebody before, but ever since then, that's been like a no. Like that was just
that's like that. Like if you spit on someone, whatever they do to you after that is completely justifiable, in my opinion. Like, it's because that's just disgusting. I almost cussed, but it was
like, a lighter one for you.
I was like, "Ooh, yes," because I'm like, yeah, you can do. I don't, yeah. That's a big no.
So he lays the spell. He puts some spit on her forehead. She starts to choke, and then she's alive, but not well.
Yeah. Well, and then we don't initially know what the spell does to her, right off bat. But we do. Did you notice the poster that they had in the alley? Like the eyes followed her when she took off. Yeah, when she took off running. Like that was like the only indication that we knew something was wrong, other than of course the spell being cast.
When she went home and she was she in her house or was that Montrose?
That was she was in her house.
Okay, so then Montrose tried and then gave up. But regardless, the book.
Let's be
Uncle,
honest about that. We knew that wasn't gonna be successful. we he there was,
it's
his best
bad that
effort was
like
not gonna work, bro.
the
We already know his
person,
dad skills are horrible.
yeah, the person who has like who we have the least faith in my opinion, in this episode, did the most.
He did, yo.
He
And
did
he
the
had
most
some
for her.
quiet. He had some, but he had some redeeming moments in this episode. I'm not
And
gonna lie to you.
he did not move just in case she came back. He said, I'm gonna stay right here. I don't
Exactly.
know if that was the right plan, but at least he didn't leave. He stayed all the way until the end of the episode. So that's
Yep.
good for something.
Yeah,
But
he had some. He has a very. That was one of his most redeeming moments in the episode. Not the most redeeming, but it was definitely up there.
yeah. And then she saw the book, Uncle Tom's Cabin. Is that what the book was?
Yep, it was Uncle Tom's
Yeah.
Cabin.
With
Then
the girl in the front changed and she noticed it.
yep.
And then the book fell. And then she was like, nah, I'm gonna get out of here.
Yeah, no, because yeah, and then Uncle George, well, not Uncle George, Montrose is yelling at her to come out the room, and she wants talking like she turns the volume up on the radio, and then I noticed that the radio, it stops playing the song and it kept playing the knock knock let me in or something, whatever that was. I kept, and then like he couldn't hear it. Like for him, it was the same. The music was still playing.
Yeah, she started hearing things and seeing things.
Yeah, so the spell is like some sort of like illusion. It's all in her head for the most part. It's kind of like Freddy Krueger almost, where it's like everything that's happening is real only to her, and it can definitely hurt and affect her, but no one else is affected by it. Which is wow, yo, that would be the worst type of spell, in my opinion, to cast someone, because you look absolutely crazy. Like no one else can see it. And then she goes to the train station, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the next scene, or do we get a cut scene? Do we go? Is that when old girl shows up?
I want to say Ruby pulls Ruby first. No.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Ruby shows up to get her.
So Ruby is
get her fix.
feeling stressed out about the day. I could say it doesn't seem to me like Ruby tried to look for D at all. Ruby went.
I don't think. Yeah.
Ruby was like, yeah, nah, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go straight. Did she even see? Well, you know what? She did say that she was going to stay in line to see the body. I think she saw him. So she stayed through. She saw him. But did she stay to look for D? No. She stayed. She saw the body, and then she left. And
do you remember where she said she was gonna go search for her though? Because I know Tick said he was gonna search 5th Street, I believe.
She was staying in line. She was gonna stay in line just in case D came back.
To the church. Okay, that was her plan.
Yeah. So basically, she stayed in line. She went all the way through the line, saw the body, and went straight to William's place. Yep. William and Christina's house. She did not there was no more D. Bye, D. I'm out.
Yep.
And she went and got harassed by a neighbor who didn't believe that she belonged there, and went inside and was frustrated after what she'd seen, and proceeded to William made a move on her, and then she was like, no, I don't want to have sex with you as a Black woman. And then she took the potion, and then we got to see some white sex.
Yeah. And it was implied. It was implied because she transformed, and it was wild that Christina decided to show up as William. I wonder if she transformed in the car on the way in. I wonder if she saw Ruby out front and then decided, oh, let me transform into William.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it was luck, or she had a feeling, or somehow that she would come, because remember when they change, they don't have clothes on. So William was fully dressed and clean, and that's true. That process is dirty. So Christina was already William at the time.
Yeah, so she had to be on a William mission at that time.
Yeah,
conveniently.
Definitely. And that was nasty. Just the whole thing to me, like, not just her transforming back to Ruby while she was having sex. Well, first of all, she had sex with William knowing that he was Christina. That's right. That's the kicker. So knowing what you know already, you just wanted to get your rocks off.
That's it.
Because
That's what she was
that's
there.
really what she was there to do. She wasn't there to do nothing else but
No, which is wild because that Christina saw right through her because that doesn't really happen linearly in the story, but when she's telling her why her when Ruby is giving her reason why she showed up, and Christina basically just reads her,
yeah.
and I'm just like, dang. But I mean, she's right because what we just said, like she knows that Christina is William, like she knows what she's doing, like she's trying to justify it behind those means. Like that might have been a motivator for her going in there, but that wasn't why she was there.
And you can't it's clear. I mean, D's still missing.
Exactly.
D is missing, and they said earlier that this is the worst day for her to be missing. Like things are at an all-time high. There's police everywhere. There should not be a little black girl by herself anywhere in Chicago.
Yeah.
And that's what she goes and does.
Yeah. And to your point, it's like if she cared that much, she would have been looking for her cousin.
Absolutely. And it's clear that she was just there to fulfill her own needs, and that's it.
Right. Or no, never mind. That's not her cousin. Sorry, that's not her cousin. That friend of the family.
Yeah. I'm sure they all call it that. You know.
I mean, they all go to the cookout, but like, you know, because then that would be an incestuous relationship. So they definitely they're not cousins. They're not cousins. They're
you know how black people are. That's my cousin.
Yeah, and friend of family, in a friend of the family way, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep, redder.
For filth.
Exactly.
And then do we go to Atticus and no, we go to Luddy showing up.
Letty shows up because
Gia was standing there, and I didn't realize Gia was standing there until she said something. Did you see her the moment Letty
I saw her? Yeah, I saw her. Well, no, okay, I didn't know that was Gia because she had her hair down.
Yes.
But I could see her standing in the corner, and then when Letty made that, she went through the corridor and came into the dining room, and then she looks over to, I guess that's the living room or the front room, and sees her, and then I'm like, oh, I know who that is. Because she was the only one in there, and I'm like, dang, they doing this now? Like this is just and it's wild because she was
possible.
It's the worst day.
Like she knew she was showing up for a funeral.
Exactly.
She didn't show up in white. She didn't show up in any sort of joyous color. Just straight black.
And it's a one-on-one, which is probably even worse given the situation, because like Letty has no idea who this is because Tick hasn't told her about what happened in Korea. Not completely. Especially not that aspect. And so I'm pretty sure when she showed up, like, one, who are you? And so like now we got that whole she's got to tell her the full story, and she's got to hear it from Gia and not Tick, and I know that pissed her off.
Absolutely, especially when she basically one, she's pregnant. She knows she's pregnant and she hasn't told anyone. And the man that she's pregnant by, she's finding out was in love with someone else before her, which I guess in 2020, that don't sound like much. But back then, that was a really big deal.
Right.
Like, somebody told me they haven't experienced love before. Well, I'm not the one to help you out with that, bro. You better talk to somebody else first. Call me after you find that. So,
for real, though.
Letty was upset. And in my head, I'm like, but he's with you now. So
that's what I thought too, because I was like, but it's not like he wasn't cheating. Like I was, honor thing. They got higher standards.
That's what I'm saying. it's different in 2020. But Letty was not happy.
No, not at all.
I guess we can just say because they jumped around a lot, but Atticus does show up and he finally gets to hear Gia because he ran away and never got to hear what she was.
Yeah.
And so she explained that story to him. He got his answers, but
yeah, and I kind of forgot about that detail in the moment because I was like, why is he surprised? I thought and then I was like, oh, never mind. He never knew that. Because Yeah, because I
And
was
then
like, yeah, but they never had that conversation. Continue. Sorry.
yeah, they never had that convo, and she explained not only what she is, but they did discuss the fact that she didn't kill him, that she was able to see his future a bit. And did they go into any further detail with that?
Um, no, they no, because it was pretty much Tick, and because we missed the conversation between Letty and Gia, and we got Tick confronting Gia about being Nine Tails.
Yes.
Then he's um in his own way trying to diffuse the situation. Um, and then Letty's upset. She storms off, and Tick tells Gia to basically go away, to screw off, go somewhere. Like what we had wasn't real, and you blowing my spot up.
Basically. Although I don't think she's gonna go far. She's gonna hang around.
Nah, she's not going anywhere. Oh, she did say she got her 100 bodies. Like she killed 100 people.
When she said that, I didn't take it seriously because
Yeah,
she said that she is still that. And remember what the witch said to her, that you're gonna see a lot more deaths before you get that last body. So I took it as just them saying like that she said that to them as far explaining what she is, not that she actually got the 100th body. Because if she got the 100th body, then the power would no longer be within her.
yeah. Well, yeah. I
But
just I wonder why she said that though. Like why would she why would they have that line written for her? Or unless Tick misunderstood because maybe um she was explaining that she has to get 100 kill 100 men before she can revert back to a human.
I have
And
to
then
watch
he
that scene.
because he's the one that says so you've killed 100 you've killed 100 men during during the confrontation at the dinner table. He
Yeah,
says that.
I have to watch that again because if that is the case, then she would no longer have the power within her, and she's just human. But
Exactly.
he called her a succubus at the beginning, and she said, "No, I'm this."
Yeah.
Which I forgot the term already. So that would mean that she still has that power.
Camille.
Camille, yes. And then I think that's all for that thruple of
Yep.
madness.
Yep. And then we got to go to the second floor because the argument spills over. Letty storms out the room.
Yes.
Threatening to leave.
Letty kicks him out, right?
No. She goes up and she's getting ready. She's packing her stuff like she's getting ready to leave.
Even though it's
And
her
then
house.
even though it's her house, so that was like I guess she was just done with it. I don't know where she was gonna go, but yeah, she was hot, understandably. And then she confronts Tick about having this relationship, and that basically says that all right, you know, you keep saying you're trying to make things right, but since you showed up, everyone's died.
Right.
And I was like,
oh. And you haven't been honest. So you kept this from me. You knew that you were going to die, and now everybody around you is dying because of what you're doing. I'm in this demonic house because of you, and you coming back home to Chicago when you could have stayed over there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I didn't even think about it till just now. Like Letty would be probably not having the current relationship that she has with her sister, but she'd be a lot happier. That's for
Probably.
sure.
She definitely, yeah, because she would have went. Well, she did come back to Chicago, but her trajectory would have been completely different. None of this stuff would have happened to her. Yeah. And yeah, I guess I guess you could say she is right because Uncle George would have never gone to the Winthrop manor.
Absolutely.
So yeah, truth hurts.
Definitely.
Then she goes. Then that's when Tick tells her he's gonna go make it right, and then she's like, "What does that mean?" And then the whole dynamic of the argument flips, and now she's trying to get him to stay and saying like we got to do this together, and like I'm like, yo, whoo, this relationship right here.
This stress. They don't need each other. And then from there, he leaves, and then I guess at some point we can go back to D. It's still being followed by these two spirits, these two girls who, by the way, the choreography, nuts. They were
Yes,
pulling moves from everywhere. Those two ladies are talented and they deserve all of their flowers. But
absolutely.
D is being followed by these two spirits who are getting closer and closer to her with every scene. Although they start farther away, it
Yeah.
seems
So
by the
we're
end of the scene, they are like within
they're
a
getting closer.
finger's reach her. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. When and then when we first see them on the train station on the platform, like they're coming up the stairs and they're in the shadows. And I'm like, yo, I can't. What is that? And then like it because it's the girls from the cover of the Uncle Tom's Cabin,
Mm-hmm.
and then like when the one peeks her head around the other one, I was like, oh Lord, that's I was like, yo, this is crazy. And then they to your point that the choreography, it was creepy. It was like um what's the Jordan Peele movie?
Us.
Us, yes.
Definitely us.
That's what they were acting like.
Um, what else can I say? They I had a thought and I lost it.
And that's when it's revealed that she's the only one that can see him.
Yes.
Because she bumps into the white man on the platform and like he gets upset and then she points over in their directions like, hey, do you see that? And he's like, see what?
Yes.
And
I
I'm like,
wonder
oh Lord.
what the reason for the platform scene is. I haven't read the Lovecraft Country books, and I just can't help but compare things to other things that I've seen. But the scariest scene in The Wiz is the subway scene.
Yeah, when the pillars start dancing, like the
Yo,
pillars,
I don't like that.
yo, that whole scene is wild, yo. That's my favorite scene in that movie.
That lucky you, because I am 27 years old and I will not watch that scene. I cannot handle it.
That,
The big pink
oh man.
face, oh, I did not like that at all. And that's like that. It gave me those same vibes.
Yeah, I
I
love
don't know
that
if that
scene.
was intentional. I cannot handle it. I am a little girl again watching that. It's
Yeah.
rough.
That no, I love that scene. That scene sticks out to me the most from that movie because how wild it is. I was like, yo, this whole movie should have been like this. They
They
could have
were
turned the Wiz into like a horror story. Can you imagine how great that would be? Because it is a horror movie. If you kind of think about it, like the whole
I was just
situation is a horror
thinking
movie.
that should be another conversation one day, like movies that aren't horror movies but are scary.
Yeah, that might be a good cookout conversation.
Yeah, that it,
Genre bending
yes, very much so.
films. Yeah, yeah, that would be a fun topic.
Right,
Talk
all right.
about like what movies we should could be, yeah, cross genres. But anyway, yeah. So he uh Letty was packing tick stuff. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Oh, yes, okay.
That makes sense. I get that. Um but yeah, so then is this when I think the next scene, because she runs into the train station and we kind of lose her. She loses the what do we call them? The spirits, demons.
Spirits, demons, whatever.
She loses the demons temporarily in the train station, and I think that's where we get the scene with Tick and um Christina. And are they in the museum?
No, there were so many individual scenes. Like everybody was with everybody in this thing, but they were where did you say they were?
Were they? It looked like they were in the museum.
I think so. I think so. And Tick um wanted us wanted to cast a spell. He asked for a spell so that he could protect himself. And she ended up casting one on him that gave her what to me looked like ringworm. Gave him ringworm. That was real ringworm looking.
No, that was on Letty. That was the Mark of Cain. She showed him a spell that he because that's what he cast in the house later.
Got you.
And they were anticipating like they were thinking like something was gonna like happen like but so it's like a I want to say that's like a not a warding spell, it's a summoning spell. It's what it appears like some sort of defensive uh um summoning spell, and we'll get into that later because that was a big moment at the end of the
Yeah.
show. Uh, but yeah, and then I do want to point out, like, so um, Diane. It seems like those characters, those demons, the ragdolls, the spooky ragdolls, uh, are kind of like hellhounds. Are you familiar with those with hellhounds? So like the lore is with hellhounds, if you make a pact with the devil, when he comes to collect your soul, he sends hellhounds, and you're the only one who can hear them. Like, so you hear dogs barking, and no one else can hear them, and then eventually they catch up to you and take your spirit.
Mm. The only difference is she didn't make the deal. The sheriff did.
Yeah. So but that's what it seems. That's where I liken it to. Watching what's that? The dang, what's the name of that show? Never mind. I'll think about it. But yeah. Uh, so yeah. So after he makes the deal with Christina, and then he asks her what happens on the equinox.
Because at this point, he knows about it. She doesn't know why.
Mm-hmm.
And she definitely looks shocked. And at this point, we don't know what that means either. It's just something that he knows that he hasn't talked about. The viewers don't know. But she admits to him what it is. And I don't think that she knows what we later find out in the episode.
Yeah.
So that was although this whole time I've been like, Christina is doing all these things for people, and like, what is it that she needs from them? Now we know what her end goal is, but this is the one time that I feel like, in a way, we have a one up on her.
Mm-hmm. Do you really?
Only a little bit, because of what Atticus reveals at the end of the episode. I'm kind of jumping around a little bit,
Oh,
but
okay.
I might as well just say it. But for Atticus to show the book Lovecraft Country, and we find out that he went through the portals while he came out with this book. This book is from his future child, and in the book, the details everything that happened, and we know that she tries to sacrifice, or that in the book, technically, she successfully sacrifices Atticus um, for the equinox. But she does not know that he knows that. So that's the only thing that's making me somewhat confident in this bunch right now. Because for once, we know something that Christina doesn't know. In a way, I'm still not
Yeah. I'm
told
not.
they need to talk to each other, but this is like it's like a hair. Like, it's this much confidence, this much of a confidence boost, but it is the first time we've gotten one.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a. I wouldn't, for me personally, I wouldn't count that as a confidence booster, because I think we're in the end game almost. Like, I feel like she's Thanos and she already has stones, and it's kind of like, even if she doesn't have all the stones, like, she's still like super powerful at this point.
Yeah.
Because she's been planning, like, they're just now getting hip to what she's been planning for who knows how many years, and like they're playing catch up and they're trying, but I just don't see that as a. I don't know how this is going to end. I will say that I am. Go ahead.
To go back to Korea.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious as to how what Gia's role is in this, but we get into speculation later. So where are we in the story? Because we were just talking about how um so Tick makes that deal, and then we go back to Diane?
I mean, we see Diane. Before that, does Letty make her deal before Diane?
Yeah, we get another Diane scene. Um and then we see Letty. uh, and Letty makes her deal because it's not immediately after Tick makes his deal with Christina. Or no. That I'm sorry. We get the Ruby scene. We get the Ruby and Christina scene after the sex scene, and
Yes.
that's when Ruby tells her why she did what she did, and then Christina reads her for filth.
And then we got the Tick and Christina scene already.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's just go into Christina and Luddy at church because they bounce
Yeah,
around so much in this episode.
yeah, they do.
See Luddy in church praying. This is, I think, the second time we've seen this in the show. The last time we saw her in church was uh, after Uncle George died, right? Did we see her in church again?
No.
Yeah.
And they've been teasing the scene for a while in the trailer, in the previews.
Yeah, okay, that's why it looks so familiar.
Yeah.
It's crazy that all that they've gone through, that now all of a sudden she's back in church. Like, she didn't go to church after episode 3, or at least they didn't show it on camera. It took all of this and Emmett Till for her to be stressed again.
Yeah, all that broke her.
Yeah.
She just got a high threshold. That's all that is. Like, she that was the straw that broke her back, clearly.
And what's crazy was in the scene, you know, she's talking to God and she's worried about magic and the devil.
And on top of that, she's pregnant too. That's adding that in.
Right. So she's pregnant. She's just feeling like she's not right with the Lord. She's dealing with the wrong sides of things. Then Christina comes in and she just goes right back with the magic like nothing happened, just straight making a deal. Also,
but Christina, she reveals that she's the one who summoned her here. Like, she told Christina to meet her at the church.
Why did she do that?
Christina said that's the first thing she says. When after she lets Letty finish praying, and then she sits down, and then she says, "I didn't take you for the church going type when you summoned me here."
Got you. Okay, I missed that.
So yeah, that was her opening comment.
I wonder maybe she did that because she felt like she could be safer there. Like, she didn't think
it's a sanctuary, so yeah, I could see that.
Just like Christina maybe not wouldn't, but couldn't do something to her there, which I personally, I mean, we already saw Christina's powers work there.
Yeah, it's a placebo effect. I think she was just trying to kill two birds with one stone. It was a sanctuary. She felt safe. She probably needed to pray. A lot going on. She's pregnant. She just found out that the father to be is going to die from his lover from Korea, who she didn't know about specifically.
You know,
who just magically showed up on her door. That's a lot to go through in a day.
I need to go to church too. Right.
That's a lot to go through. All this happened is in one day, and Emmett Till's funeral. Like, that's a lot. Yeah. I can totally understand.
That's probably right. Yeah, I would need to be in church too.
Mm-hmm.
And so then she offers to give the pages to Christina, which is just more like, why?
Like, like this is where they're not communicating. Like, how are they going to leverage her? Because they do have a lot of chips on the table, but they're not communicating how they're going to leverage this against Christina. Like, Tick didn't tell her. There was no indication that Tick told anyone that he was going to call Christina and make a deal with her and give her the key. Like, and Letty didn't tell anybody. It appears that she was going to call Christina and make a deal for protection for Atticus and give her the pages.
Right.
So it's like, y'all are throwing away everything, all your gambling chips. Like, y'all are terrible gamblers. Like, you're not coordinating as a team. You're not working together with the assets that you have and leverage things that she actually needs. Like, I don't know. That's bothering me.
It absolutely
I like it because it's not like affecting my love for the show, but it's kind of like, gosh, come on now.
Right. So then basically she offers the pages to Christina in exchange for protection for Atticus. And Christina's like, nah, I'm not protecting Atticus. I'll protect you. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. And Letty's not with it at first, and then Christina convinces her, and then that's when she gives her the little ringworm magic.
Yeah, so she gives her the mark of Cain, which
Yeah.
her remark was that she is the only one that found out that it has healing powers. But how does it heal? Is my question. And we'll come back to that when we get into speculation. But let's get through the synopsis because I got some speculative things about how that's going to work.
And Christina also gives us a little demonstration in the episode too. A lot of stuff happened in this hour. That's crazy. So then from there, she got her spell. I'm sure there's another scene of D. Oh, at this point, D probably goes to. I think was that later in the episode.
That's
Basically, we can go into that now.
it's all in I think this is all in the fourth act. Third, yeah, it's got to be third, fourth, late third, fourth act.
So then let's go to no, let's go to D having a conversation with the sheriff. She goes to the police station to confront the sheriff. And it's like, what do you want? Like, what is it that's going on? And he says, if you want me to get rid of the curse, then bring me the Ori. Yeah. And she spits on him and she runs out.
Wait, hold on, back up. She also corrects the cop who said that her mother had an African name. And he was like, "It's Greek, you MF." Oh God, that was great. I laughed so hard.
The earlier scene where he talked about the African names, I was like,
yeah, because they were confronting her and they asked what was her mother's name, and she said Hippolyta, and then he said Hippo what? Damn African names, and then like kicked her on the ground, and like I was like, and then she did that. That was great. I love that. That was
she did not
highlight.
She couldn't wait to see that white man and correct him.
Really couldn't.
That opportunity.
Yeah, and no.
So from there, he tells her that he can release the curse if she brings him the Ori. Yeah. She spits on him, which I appreciate that she got to do that back because what he did was really nasty.
Right. That's the least she could do.
Right. And then he storms out.
Yeah.
And then, but that's when he says she's dead already. Let's roll.
Basically, yeah. She's basically, yeah.
From there, then we can get into Christina at the pier.
Right.
So I think Mrs. Cooper, Christina also has the symbol of Cain. Right? It was the same exact sign that she put on Luddy. And she wanted to know if it could heal, not just heal her, but if it could bring her back to life. And so she basically hired those men to, you know what? One or two things. I just realized I think she might have wanted to feel what Emmett Till went through.
That's where I was going. I think that's why she did that. I think that's why she did that. Like I think what Ruby said earlier had an impact on her, even though she didn't believe that that's what Ruby was there for. But I think that she wanted to experience what Emmett Till went through. And then that was also a moment for us to see like how all that went down.
Yeah. And so we basically got to see her get beat up, get shot multiple times, get tied up with barbed wire, get tied to the fan and throw it down. Maybe it was not a test. It is possible that she already knew.
Yeah, because she had already revealed to Lady that it could heal.
Right.
This was like after that.
Yeah. So this is us getting to see it for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then, of course, they throw her in the water. She comes back alive, and she's very emotional. She's not just her. I think this is the first time we've seen her this way.
Yeah, she's never expressed emotion before. Like this is the most emotional she's been, which is wow, quite an experience, quite a painful. Had to be excruciatingly painful for her, because I mean this is someone she doesn't emote. We can't read her as far as how she's feeling and how things are affecting her as they're happening. This is the first time we see her emote.
She has been completely goal oriented. Like just the end goal is all she has time for.
And she does whisper something in the tongue of Adam prior to the beatdown, and I think what she was doing was releasing the spell, the mark.
What do you mean releasing?
Like I think she was activating it.
Got you. Okay. And so then from that scene, we can go to Montrose and Atticus. Montrose is still sitting outside of Hippolyta and Uncle George's house, like nothing happened, sitting there drinking,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll get that later. And Atticus pulls up, asks him if he cheats on his mom because he's still beefing from the last episode, even though they're going through a lot. Which
I want to say that was hilarious. Why I laughed because he was like, Montrose was like trying to have a moment, and he just looked at him. He said, "Did you cheat on my mom?" And he just walked off. That show was hilarious. I don't know. Oh man, that was good.
So they have their little heart-to-heart moment. You know, Montrose tells us the story of his pastor who was gay and had relations with a man, and the police found out and killed him.
Yep.
And from that moment, as a child, he knew that he didn't want to die that way, and that he had to keep all his feelings to himself. So he did marry Atticus's mom, and of course they had Atticus, who we still up in the air as to whether or not Montrose is his father, but he still loved her, he still loves his son, and he still loved his family.
I think it's because it's during the, especially during this time period, like him being a black male and being gay is like I understand his fear, but it doesn't justify what he did to Atticus growing up. But I do like I totally understand like his fear for sure. Just like how he handled it wasn't the way to go. Definitely wasn't the way to the correct approach.
I completely agree. In fact, if Montrose hadn't beaten Atticus so badly, these conversations probably would have been a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
But then from there, Atticus reveals to Montrose that he did go to the future, that that Luddy is pregnant, and that he knows because he met his son in the future. He shows Montrose the book, explains what happens in the book, tells Montrose that he has to die, and Montrose becomes Father of the Year finally, in a way that actually would be helpful. And he tries to cast a spell on Atticus, which at the time we're not sure if it works.
Okay, I was reading the comments. Hold on. I'm gonna get to this. And get to the Ruby thing too in a minute. That was said. She mentioned she could heal with Letty as a protection spell. Yeah, the Mark of Cain is a healing spell, and this makes sense. If it, so you're saying it's the opposite of what I said basically. So she's removing the buff, basically the spell, so that she can feel the pain and the torment and that experience that Emmett Till went through.
Got you.
But then
she was removing the spell that that she had on her, because remember when Atticus tried to shoot her and he immediately stopped and she didn't have to say anything because she had a protection spell on her. So she was removing that spell.
True. Yeah. Forgot about that.
And well, the only thing that makes me iffy is I thought immortality is what she wants, is what her end goal is. So what is the spell that protected her?
It's not an immortality spell. It's a because she can still, time is going to kill her. Like she's gonna die from old age. Like immortality, nothing could touch her.
Got you.
Like she's got the spell, so she can't. No mortal wound outside of basically age can affect her.
Got you. So then, yeah.
So yeah, that's a good point. All right. Yeah, let's. Do you think Christina's actually falling for? I think Christina kind of cares about Ruby in her way. Yeah. She definitely cares about Ruby more than she cares about any other character on screen.
See, I don't think it's love. I think it's like more like affection, or like in a way, like I feel like Christina feels responsible for keeping Ruby safe.
Yeah, I think she relates to Ruby. I think she sees some sort of similarities between herself and Ruby because I when she was talking about um how what's the male avatar
William.
William. When she was telling Ruby about how what really happened to William, I think like she cared about William,
She
whoever
definitely
he was.
she was in love with William. William was her lover, and
That's what I'm saying. Like I think she definitely cared about him, and then I think sees she sees something in Ruby that she sees in herself
yeah, I don't
because
know.
she's don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what, but I think they probably have similar stories that like I think there's some commonality between the two of them, and the only thing Ruby doesn't have is the magic and the privilege.
So then from there we go to D, um, going to her father's shop,
Yeah, locking all the doors and windows
doors,
except for
except
one. Except for
and
one.
and nothing happens. And
Yeah.
she pulls out a paper and a pencil and she draws the girls coming to her.
Yeah.
I think at that point, to me, it feels like Diane made that happen.
Interesting.
Remember, the
That's
she
interesting.
was like, they're not here. Let me draw them so they can show up. And the moment she threw down the photo, they showed up. I think Diane made that happen. And I think she knew that she could make that happen.
I don't know.
If that's the case, then why draw it?
I think she that's because I think that's her. That's what she does. Um,
Okay, so maybe she doesn't know that she has that power, but then
but she's also too like no. She knows that no one else can see them and what she. So if she draws them, at least like that will be a way for her to show and explain to people, especially like Montrose and Tick and Letty, like whatever is after her is real because she can see it.
okay, so then let's just say that that's the reason why she did it. It still doesn't change the fact that they showed up as soon as she did it. So maybe she doesn't realize that she has that power, but now I think that she may have it.
We'll
She has that power. Now,
we'll see.
as for her mom and what happened to Hippolyta, the book stops at Hippolyta being in space and being an explorer. But remember, Hippolyta said to the alien that she still needs to help D. So maybe in some way she's still going to be around to do that. But D has not drawn any further future for her mom there.
Yeah.
So as far as that goes, I'm unsure. But I'm confident that the spirits, the spooky rag dolls showed up because she drew them.
I don't know.
They were not there, and then she drew them, and then the girl popped up in the window. And because remember, she drew the window with the girl looking through it, the spooky rag doll looking through it. Then we saw her in the window, and then the other spooky rag doll came inside.
I think she has. I think it's foresight.
Same difference. Hers is a little stronger than everybody else's.
Yeah, I think it's foresight, and I think that's where Hippolyta is helping her. I think somehow Hippolyta is able to show her bits of the future, and then she draws it. And so, like, I think for the story, for I think it's important for her to be able to draw these the characters, the creatures, the demons, uh, because everything that she's drawn to this point has been a key in a something that has helped Tick, Letty, and Montrose, and Uncle George when he was still alive.
Very true. The only thing that makes me nervous is she hasn't drawn anything else after tonight. Like,
oh yeah, I mean she's
drawn
yeah,
anything. I don't think she's drawn anything.
but we don't know what all she's drawn either.
That is true. Let me not even say that.
Yeah,
And
we
so
don't
then
know.
we see her She summons the spooky rag dolls. She picks up a pipe and she gets to bussing. She's swinging this thing. She's fighting. They are fighting her back, and that's when Montrose shows up and sees her fighting nothing, fighting air, and scoops her up to calm her down. And the moment she stops swinging, we see them attack her.
Yeah, either it digs its claws into her or it bites her or both.
Yeah. And we see her bleeding and she's bugging out, and Montrose is just trying to keep her calm, not realizing that something is happening to her.
Yeah, he has no idea what's going on.
Yeah,
because that's the first time he's seen her since she stormed. She closed the door in her room, slammed the door in his face. Like the next time, yeah,
he's thinking that she's completely bugged out. No one.
He has no idea what's going on.
Yeah,
and
he thinks that she's still upset about losing Bobo. Because once again, these people are some unfit babysitters, and they have no idea what's going on with this child throughout this day.
Yep.
I can't believe this has all been one day. And so from there, it cuts to Letty and Ruby talking in the house.
Yeah, I think that might have been out of order, but yeah,
possibly.
Yeah, I think that's one of the last scenes.
In the house talking.
And Ruby and Letty. Ruby reveals to Letty that she knows what's going on.
Yes.
And
magic.
Yeah, and then she tells her about William, and then Christina knows. Well, no, did Letty know that William and Christina? No, she didn't know that.
No, she told them that they're the same person.
But she's seen both of them.
She's seen both of them, but she did not know they were the same.
Yeah, because she met William in the mansion. And
correct.
She also met Christina. Like they've been interacting with Christina, but so yeah, that was revealed.
Yes. And so while they're talking, someone's knocking on the door, and someone asked them to come to the door, right?
Yeah. Well, they're having this is the first time that the truth has been fully revealed on both sides, and that Christina has made a deal with Ruby, and it's the same deal that she tried to make with Letty when she gave her the house, and she didn't take it. But Ruby is taking this deal, and she tells her that she's can transform, and that she can be a white woman, and like she got the job, like, and all of this stuff, like, and so all this now been revealed to Letty, and like Letty is like, yo, before she can react and respond, like it sounds like Montrose, or not Montrose, it sounds like Tick says come to the door, it's like the police are here or something.
One of the
someone yells for Letty.
Yeah,
but he wasn't there. And but when I heard the voice, I was like, I thought it was Tick.
It was just one of the gentlemen in the house.
Oh no, we missed the scene with Tick and Montrose casting the spell.
No, we didn't do that.
Did we?
Yeah. That was right after they were talking to each other, and like right after the "Did you cheat on my mama" scene, I told you that Montrose finally decides to step up.
Yo, yeah, but that was like you breezed through that one.
Well, I mean,
because he told him he was dyslexic, and like because he was trying
about that.
He was trying to that made me nervous, because like when he was reading the spell, he was reading this, I guess, in English, and he mixed.
Oh yeah, he was reading something in English, and then
he mixed the words up. His dyslexia kicked in. He mixed the words, and then he proceeds to say the spell in the tongue of Adam, and I'm like, yo, how do you know that he's not going to mix up something and screw this whole thing up?
That's exactly. I yelled that out loud. I can't believe I forgot about this scene. I was like, "How you gonna let the dyslexic man cast a spell? He is
right."
Not
I'm like, that's the last person I want casting a spell on me.
And so then he casts the spell, and nothing happens. And they're looking like, dang. And in my mind, I was like, yes, because he can't read.
But the thing was, like, you kept seeing sirens in the background, and like I saw red flashing lights, like either that was like an ambulance or a fire truck, something, and
Mm-hmm.
then lights in the background through the window, and like they kept doing these close ups, and I was like, bro, somebody's about to get shot. Like a bullet's about to fly because I knew the police were on their way because the dude said I gotta go um the police officer that is
So the
a wizard. He said
yeah,
I gotta go get what's mine, and I'm like he's going to the house. Like I knew he was going to the house, and I thought that Montrose and Tick were in Letty's house. I didn't peep that that was Montrose apartment that they were in.
mm-hmm.
So
I
yeah,
don't.
like all that's happening, and then that's when we get the Letty and Ruby scene, and then
Yes.
that confrontation, and then that's when someone calls out to Letty to come to the
Yes.
door.
So then Letty and Ruby go to the door together. They see the sheriff and two officers. The sheriff accuses Letty of housing some Nation of Islam members who are trying to work to retaliate after the death of Emmett Till.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the officers walks in the house, no problem. And the sheriff, boom, gets stopped because of the spell that was cast in episode 3. And
Mm-hmm.
from that moment, they find out that he
He
knows
knows
magic,
magic.
and he finds out that they know magic.
Yep.
Although he was suspicious because they mentioned that earlier in the episode that he wasn't sure what they knew.
Yeah.
And now he knows that they definitely know magic.
Yeah.
And
Well, and it's he was suspicious that they knew about magic. He didn't know what degree they knew about magic, and then it's revealed that not only do they know about magic, they apparently know how to cast spells as well because they got a warding spell keeping him out of the building.
and now he thinks they are the ones who have cast that spell. So automatically in his mind, he thinks they know magic. There's some witches in this house, and they got to go.
Yep. Take him
So
out.
he
He
pulls
gives the
back
order.
the officer. Letty closes the door. She thinks they're okay. And then all of a sudden, the fire brigade gets to shooting.
Rain of bullets just comes
Absolutely.
crashing through, and as soon as they open fire, it was like at least 10 shots in that first barrage, and I was like, somebody's hit. And I thought it was Letty because Letty was right there standing in front of the window when the shots came through, and I was like, "Yo, it's over." I'm like, I know she's not about to get bleed out on the floor right now.
Right. So in that scene, we see that the bullets are able to actually just bounce right off of her. They don't touch her, they just fling off. I want to rewatch that scene again to see if we see that in that first moment when they start shooting.
No, it's not because nope. And like, cause she lays down on the ground, but I'm just thinking like, all right, so there's no way out of all those bullets, everything missed her.
Mm-hmm.
So she hits the ground, she's laying on the ground, and like the bullets are coming through the couch, the walls, like everything. And I'm like, bro, she's got no real cover. I'm like, is this how this is gonna end? And then I guess she remembers that she has the mark of Cain.
Mm-hmm.
And she sits up, and then we see it. Everything starts to go in slow motion, and bullets are flying in past her. And then one that would have hit her in the back of the head just bounces off.
Bing.
I was like, "Oh, okay."
Right. And
Sigh of
then
relief,
she's
because at this point I'm nervous.
coming, and then we see Atticus walking down, and Atticus hears the bullets, and he turns the corner and he sees them firing
He
at the
starts
house.
falling. Yep.
And all of a sudden, he catches the eye of one of the officers who, even though he's just standing there, we're taken back to episode 1, where this man is just standing there, not doing anything, and this officer puts his gun on him. And then all of the rest of the officers do. And they're yelling at him. And then Letty sees that from inside the house, and she's freaking out. She does not want them to shoot him because he does not have the protection that she wants. Remember, she wanted Christina,
Allegedly.
She wanted Christina to put the cast a spell on him, and she knew Atticus was going to die. At this point, she knows Atticus is dying. She just doesn't know when, and she thinks it's going to be at that moment. She runs out of the house in what I think is to go stand in front of him.
Yep.
And before she can get to him, one of the officers shoots a bullet, and right before the bullet can get to him,
wait, this slow time. Like once again, we have another slow motion moment.
Yes.
But it's slow because this shit felt like an eternity. Excuse my language. When they fight, because when she runs out the house, this is where we once again they slow it down, and she's running in slow motion, and then the bullet fires, and then like the gun, we see the flame come from the gun, and I'm like, oh, he's dead. I'm like, this is it. I'm like, we're gonna see him. This is how he dies.
Honestly, I was thinking Gia was gonna pull up some magic or something.
I know. I was like, yeah, he's dead. Because it's like no way. Because it's happening in real time. We're just seeing it in slow motion. I'm like, bro, this is it. Like he's about to catch a barrage of bullets, and then
even the bullet could get to him, one of the monsters from, was that the episode 1 monster with all the
yeah,
eyeballs?
freaking the vampire trimmer
Pops up out of nowhere
like
and
the Hulk. Like
eats.
it felt like an Avengers movie at that point.
That scene was basically when somebody shot the Hulk and then he spit the bullet out.
Yep.
That's exactly what that was. And then that monster went. First of all, is it just me or was that one bigger than the ones from episode 1?
Nah, they would no. It was on size. It was probably. It might have been a little bit bigger, but it seemed like they were people size. They looked like they were about 6 feet.
Got you. He comes out. I don't know why we done gendered the monster. The monster pops up and attacks those officers, flipping cars around, just jacking stuff up. And Letty and Atticus are looking like, huh? They run to each other. They hug each other up, which I thought was nice. I was like, oh, it took all of that for y'all, for Letty to get over it.
Oh, yo, I peeped that too, yo.
I did. I
definitely peeped that.
I definitely did think, because weren't they a little bit more pale in previous episodes?
Yeah, they were pale. Yeah,
I absolutely did peep, but I was wondering if it was just because of the light or whatever.
I did, yeah, and because like when they burst out of the ground, I was like, oh, they're underground. They don't get much sunlight, so they're pale. Get it? Makes sense to me. And then like they had the sun allergy and light allergy, so I was like, oh, okay, so
because they're in Chicago,
right? You know, they don't get enough. They don't get a lot of sunlight. They live underground in the country somewhere.
No, I was saying he's black because they're in Chicago.
Oh yeah, they in the city now. They on the south side, so it popped up. It had to be.
The vampire's dark on the south side.
Oh, I'm done.
Another comment from Steven. He says, I feel so bad for the black folk who live in that house, just trying to have normal lives and stuff. Yeah,
for real though.
Yeah, I'm out of there. It was probably a real nice house to live in, but too many issues. Steven also expected Letty to cover a lot more distance running out of that house. We can't all be track stars.
I was about to say, I mean, there's no way she's gonna beat that bullet.
Right.
As soon as he fired, it was like he's dead. But then monster just boom. I was like, yo, I was hyped. I was like, yes. And then so he's messing up the monsters, and it turns and looks at him, and then this is before he goes and barrels into the officers on the scene.
An officer shoots at him.
Yeah.
Which gets the monster's attention, and the monster
takes
goes
off
back to him and kills whoever's left flipping cars and stuff. Then the monster looks at Atticus again and charges right up to him.
Yeah.
And just like that rhino scene in Black Panther.
Wait, hold on, time out, pause. We miss the wizard officer is in this scene.
Yes, and but it doesn't look to me like he's dying.
No, but it bites his arm off.
It definitely does rip his arm off. But his hand shoots after his arm was ripped off.
Yeah, it shoots and hits the gas tank of the cop car. And it grabs him and tosses him.
I don't think that was a spasm, the arm shooting it. I think even though his arm was ripped off, he still had control over that arm and he was still trying to shoot.
Possibly. Because the arm, it could still be a twitch, but yeah, it could.
With nothing.
Either way, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he had control over the arm. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Because he knows magic.
He's clearly Frankenstein together.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't think the captain is dead.
No. Yeah, they left it open because we see his body get flung across, or I don't know why they would just throw a random cop across the yard. I think it was the captain because that's the last thing we saw the monster eating.
Yes.
And then flings him across the yard, and then Letty and Tick are on the ground because when the cop car explodes, it flips over, hits the ground right in front of them, and they dive, they hit the ground. And they get up. The monster comes charging at Tick, Tick gets in front of Letty, and it, like the monster stops like right in front of him, and then he holds his hand out and he touches the monster on the forehead, and I was like, okay.
I didn't think he touched the monster on the forehead. The
He
monster
did.
put his forehead
Oh
into
yeah,
Atticus's
forward.
hand.
Yeah, it leaned
Like,
forward.
pet me, bro.
Yeah. So now we now know that this is that the spell that Christina, and once again going back to the communication thing, there was no need for Letty to make that deal that she made with Christina if they had communicated, because she would have known that Atticus had that warding or this conjuring spell.
Yeah. So once again, although I felt like it's nice that Atticus knows more than what Christina knows that Atticus knows, if that made sense. I still feel like Christina just has one up on everybody, from Ruby being able to be a white person to Letty and this baby and this spell, and just she's doing a lot.
Yeah, so let's get into some speculation a little bit here.
I am a little disappointed that she's doing all of this just for immortality. I know that that's a really big deal and that like people would do a lot to get that, but I just knew something more substantial was going to happen besides just her alone getting immortality. Like, to me, that's like, I don't know. I didn't know what I thought she was going to do, but I didn't think it was going to be that. I thought it was going to be something a lot more. But I should not be surprised in that that's all her father wanted.
Yeah, I mean, for her character and the type of person she is, that's a huge deal because of like manipulators. Like she's now, if she becomes immortal, like she can now manipulate the entire fabric of society because she's got all the time in the world,
right,
to make the world into her image and what she wants. So like that's a huge deal for someone like that, because she's insidious. Like she's like all the great villains from fantasy and like all other movies that we've seen, like the ones that are thinkers and that are just schemers and connivers like she is. Like if you give them immortality, like you don't know the the depths and levels that they'll go to achieve their own personal goals.
Yeah.
Selfishness. Yeah. Let's see. No, like it tossed it past the house.
Oh, okay.
Tossed him past the house, and then
only the captain was a Frankenstein. The rest of them are just
and maybe the lieutenant too. The guy that I think maybe they may both be Frankensteins.
Right, because the other one didn't try.
Yeah. His right hand man. He and his right hand man are the only ones that seem to. I think everyone else are like regular people, regular cops, and then those two are the only ones that are wizards, magicians. I do want to go back to real quick before we close out, the Mark of Cain, because that's significant development for Letty. They were having a conversation earlier in the episode when Christina was talking to Atticus about magic and how to use it without upsetting the balance of nature, and how you have to have blood in a body.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious as to how Letty can use that Mark of Cain spell in order to save Atticus, because if he dies, to me, in order to prevent the upsetting the balance of nature, someone's going to have to be sacrificed to bring him back to life.
I'm starting to wonder if Montrose is going to do his best to take that spot.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think that in order for that Mark of Cain spell to work, someone's going to have to sacrifice themselves to bring him back. Like it will bring Atticus back to life. But I think Montrose, because like it's almost, I think this is almost what the most predictable thing I may have encountered on this show thus far, which is I'm impressed by. But him, he seems to be Montrose. I'm speaking for Montrose. He seems to be on a redemption arc at this point.
Yes.
And one of the biggest underlying developments in this story is his turn and him becoming more of a hero in the story. And I think we're going to see that because now
person other who could be is D. The only person who is D.
Yeah, I don't know though.
Also, they're gonna
I don't
have
know
to
though.
go, they're all gonna communicate after this episode, and they're gonna have to go to Christina to fix D, because D did not die in this episode, but she is not doing well, and these monsters.
Yeah, they tease that in the preview, but I think Hippolyta is somehow going to be who inevitably saves D in some way. Whatever she's become is what is going to help her save her daughter. But I think Montrose is going to have to save Atticus.
Steven says, also, I need to know who is the woman in the red hood with the metal arm that pushes Tig back into the portal with the book. I'm wondering if that's Hippolyta.
It might be. It's either, I would say, could be either Hippolyta or Luddy from the future. It depends on how far in the future it is, though.
It's far enough that his son is an adult.
Right. So it would.
I'm thinking Hippolyta because we already know that she has access to technology and time travel. That moves different.
That's true. That's true. That's true. I think. Yeah, it could be that. Might be Diane. It could be. Yeah. They're. Hippolyta makes the most sense at this point in time, but we don't know what's going to happen with D.
They're going to need Christina. That's when they're all going to finally have a conversation, and the only person that they know who knows magic enough to help is Christina.
Did you see the preview at the end?
No.
Okay, because they're all in the room together with Christina around D.
Oh, it's lit! Hey!
Yeah, okay. That's. But she gives them an ultimatum. That's the thing. So, like I said, but they were not communicating. Like back to my previous point. Like if they had communicated and kept all the chips on the table and been on the same page about what they're willing to commit, because if Atticus would have told Luddy that he was going to make the deal with Christina, she would have never gone to make that deal behind his back. Well, in secret, not behind his back really, but just in secret with her to get the warding spell, because it doesn't make any sense. Like he's already going to get a protection spell. Why do you need another one?
Yeah.
And so now they've given her two artifacts. He's given her the key, and he believes that the machine is broken and can't be fixed. And she's and Letty's giving her the pages of the book. So now she's got two things that she can absolutely use, and they have lost 2 leverage points within an episode. Like that was wasn't worth the risk.
Yeah.
Wasn't worth the risk. But yeah, I think that Montrose is somehow, and he's my pick for the sacrifice in order to bring Tig back, because he kind of alluded to it in the episode.
Not only that, but he's he needs the most redemption out of everybody on the show.
Yeah, like sacrificing D is not it doesn't really do anything. Like
the only other person
he needs to be redeemed
is Ruby.
No, because she hadn't started her redemption yet. Like he's the only one that has started the arc like that. The arc is important because it makes that sacrifice more important. Like she's got some other things she's got to help. Her and Letty are not done as far as I'm concerned. Like whatever happens with Ruby, it has to be between her and Letty. They got to make amends. Then we also got, never mind. What's her name? Gia. I forgot about her. She's going to play a part in this somehow too.
She is, and I don't foresee her dying because of what the witch told her at the end of her episode.
She might be the one that pushed Tig back into the future, because she may not take that body. Like she may stay alive. Yes. Because if she stays alive, oh, and yes, the wound. Oh, that's a great point.
Arm is wounded, so she may have a prosthetic limb that her
That
mom
is
helps her with.
yes, that might be it. Oh God, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Wow.
That makes sense. So
And
now Gia,
since
but
that he wouldn't have recognized her because she would have been an adult.
yep,
Yeah. Okay. All right. Miss Cooper for the win.
yeah, that was a great one.
Because I was sold on Hippolyta.
Yeah, because they showed it, but I forgot
Hippolyta.
about that. But in the preview, they show her arm like all like withered and dying and dead. They show that in the preview. They show that in the preview. You have to stick around and watch the end of the episode because they preview the next episode. That's important.
All right.
Got to do that. Got to.
And now we know in the future D is going to push Atticus back.
It's got to be. It's got to be her.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to know that she lives. Good.
Yep. So she's not the one. Yeah. Gosh, that was a great call. Great call, Ma.
What are you expecting to find out next week?
Well, the ultimatum for sure. Whatever the ultimatum is, it's going to be the final piece that Christina needs in order to become immortal. They've given her the last pages and they've given her the key, and it also showed that they got the time machine working. So that might be the ultimatum. Like it might have been like help her. The ultimatum might have been to help her fix the time machine. And if they fix the time machine, then that might also, yeah, she doesn't know that Hippolyta is stuck in the time machine.
Hopefully they don't tell her because they've been stupid and just giving her all types of information.
That's true. That's true. But that could be the ace in the hole that they're not expecting. Because if it closed, because maybe Hippolyta was on her way back when the thing closed. So when they get it fixed and Christina goes to do what she does, that's when Hippolyta comes back in. And maybe there's no interaction. Maybe like she comes back in when Christina is entering and then they miss each other. And then that's when she's coming back with all this future tech and she can repair Dee's arm. But that also means that Christina is going to get whatever last piece she needs in order to be immortal, because she's going to go back in time to get the original text of the Book of Adam.
You know, it's crazy. When I was thinking about it, I was thinking she would need to go to the future. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, she need to go to the past. Like she needs to go get the complete Book of Adam. Travel back in time, get that, and then come back with it, and then she'll have everything she needs in order to become immortal.
There's 2 episodes left.
Yeah, so all that's going to happen, and then that's going to be next episode, and then the final episode is now we're either going to see her become immortal at the end of the episode, or they're going to save that for the season finale.
Unrelated to what you just said, are we going to see Cthulhu at all besides the first episode? Because they got Cthulhu all up and through the advertisements for this.
That's a great question.
Are we going to see him again? See it again?
That's a great question.
And also, if Atticus can control these monsters, is Cthulhu something that's under his control as well? All I know is if we finish this season and we don't see Cthulhu again, I'm going to have an attitude, because they've been pushing him on us the entire show. I was actually very upset that we saw him in that opening scene, because I assumed that he was going to be a very large part of the show, and he was not. So
yeah. I mean, it might be a last episode thing. Because we don't know what happens if Christina is awarded immortality. We don't know. That might upset the balance of nature, and then that might unleash all these monsters. Like we might have like this apocalyptic, and they may not be fight. I don't know, man. There's so many. It could be so many different things. And then they say that Tick was in the future and there was riots and there were white people fighting, and then so I don't know, man. I don't know.
I wonder riots and white people fighting.
It couldn't have been that far in the future.
Remember, his son was an adult.
Yeah, so it would with what is it? They're in the 50s. Now it's 53, right?
So if his son was, let's just say his son was 40,
Yeah, let's go 30, yeah, 30, 40 years in the future.
90s.
In the 90s. Or it might be the late, it might be the could be the 90s because it might be like around Rodney King.
Yeah. Hmm. Either that or whatever Christina does messes up the times table, and there's
And Ruby would still have to be, I mean, not Ruby, but Dee would still have to be alive based on our theory. So it can't be that, it has to be in the future, but not too crazy far in the future.
Well, remember, she also was gonna have her mom, so at that point,
She might be a time traveler too.
She might be able to.
God, it's me.
I'm still very convinced that she has the power to summon things. She doesn't know it, but she has that. So
I think, yeah, I can see that. But I think her mom coming back in next episode and helping her realize how to control that would be the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. Man, so many. I know I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Steven says we don't know if his son was still alive when he got there.
That's true.
The book. What if he came all
it might been
2020
to what 2020?
Yeah,
could be. We don't know how far in the future. Yeah, to Steven's point, we don't know how far in the future he goes. Yeah. Oh man, that would be crazy.
Steven says, honestly, Christina's done such a great job so far. I'm okay with her getting everything she wants from LOL. Her motivations aren't outright evil. Like, why stop her? I mean, the fact that people have to die in order for her to get what she wants makes her a little low-key evil.
Yeah, she's
not
like
the most evil.
What's the like? I think I would put her a neutral, almost neutral evil. Like she's been neutral the whole show. Like it's not like she's not a hero. I wouldn't necessarily deem her a villain either. Not fully formed. Like she's somewhere in that middle zone. What's that RPG chart?
Is there a chart to measure evil?
Yeah. Yeah. What is it? I think it's alignment.
Your mom asked, why is Tick's son named George? I mean, I thought it was nice.
In honor of Uncle George.
Yeah.
I thought that was obvious.
Miss Cooper, what's wrong with the name George?
Yeah, he's got to be honoring Uncle George with the name.
Your mom don't.
Can I see this?
George.
No, we have a. Well, she's got an Uncle George, George Freeman. My great uncle. Well, no, yeah, is that? Yeah. I think. Yeah.
What's wrong with George?
I have no idea. I don't know what. I have no idea why she asked that. That's hilarious. Yeah. So you got lawful good, neutral good, chaotic good, lawful neutral, true neutral, chaotic neutral, lawful evil, natural evil, and chaotic evil.
She's not lawful evil.
I would almost put her lawful neutral.
I think she's got an element of evil in there, though.
No, okay, so like on this here, let me share my screen real quick.
Yes.
So you can see what I'm looking at. Because on this chart, they've got Picard in here as not real as quick, lawful.
It's just not sold on Uncle George in this name connection at all.
Yeah, there's also a delay in the chat in the live stream. So I'm pretty sure she's heard now, and that comment was probably just coming in late. But yeah, can you see that?
Yeah. Hold on, let me make this. No, you can zoom out.
Yeah, okay. So here it says the prime directive, lawful neutral, and it got Picard there, right? And it says the prime directive prevents me from helping you. That's Christina.
Not necessarily, because she's giving them things.
She could also be lawful evil. Like she's somewhere. She is in this neutral zone though.
I think she's lawful evil
Could be, yeah.
or chaotic neutral.
Nah,
Because
she's a motive. She's got a motive.
well,
And I
Jack
can't
Sparrow
think.
also had a motive as well. Things were falling apart around him, but the only thing he wanted was his ship and his compass. And he was going to do whatever it took
That's
to get
true.
there and sacrifice anybody who was in the way. He did not care.
That's true. I would
And
say she's yeah.
she can't
Either of
be
these three.
lawful neutral.
I would say lawful, either lawful chaotic or lawful evil.
What's this? Who's true neutral? Who's that in the middle?
That's it's
Is that
the xenomorph.
No, the true neutral.
Oh, that's Treebeard from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I thought that was the Weeping Willow from Pocahontas.
Yeah, true neutral. That's hilarious.
Zoom out again.
Oh man.
And looking at it again, I'm leaning more towards lawful evil, except I can still give Christina chaotic because this show has been nothing if not chaotic. They
Yeah.
are literally like they're going through a lot. And although she herself, I would say she's organized in the same way that V from Vendetta was organized. It's
Yeah.
Jack Sparrow being there definitely doesn't help, but I'm gonna put her at chaotic neutral.
Yeah, I can buy chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can buy that. Anyway, I think we're at an hour 30 minutes. I think that is the show.
I don't know if y'all noticed, I am tired.
I'm tired too. I'm gonna let y'all get out of here. We got to get out of here. Shoot, we tired. It's time to go to bed. We got work in the morning and all that wonderful stuff. But yeah, thanks for joining us on this episode of Aftercraft. Once again, we will be back next week, same time, same place. And yeah, Imani, any other remarks you want to say?
Good night, y'all.
Yeah, I'm tired.
I'm so tired. I'm really gonna cut these lights out and JBM at the last second.
Dang, you at the last second, bro. We closing out and everything.
Closing out, bro. Hit us up in the Discord.
You didn't see the last episode. Well, come back and watch this episode afterwards and drop some comments in the comment section.
It was wild. Definitely watch that. It was
recommended. It was great. This is a great episode. This is another great episode.
I didn't get to say it, but I think I might like this episode more than episode 6.
Each episode has been better than the last.
Yeah.
And it's why that's one of the reasons why I love the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're gonna close out. Thanks for everybody for joining once again. Definitely join us on Saturday for the cookout. We'll have I think everyone will be there as far as I know. Who should have the full panel on Saturday? We'll see. Definitely let you know. But definitely looking forward to having a conversation with the larger group and with everyone. So yeah, see you then.
Good night.
Peace, love, blessings.